Poverty and inequality is a growing problem that is evident in almost all the places in the Philippines in the current time. The gap between the rich and the poor is quite high and often widening. It is one of the biggest and most evident problems in the Philippines. Poverty is a state or condition of having little or no money, goods, or means of support. Poverty and inequality in the Philippines still remain as a challenge to many Filipinos, especially the poor. Poverty in the Philippines continues to worsen. The people mostly in the state of poverty will experience consequences on which is experiencing health problems since they are in bad living condition. Because they are not able to sustain their needs, they are much prone to having health problems. Poverty in the Philippines increases crime rate. Poverty causes people who are desperate for money to rob and do crimes for cash. Child labor is one of the noticeable effects of poverty. Investments in education for less fortunate are not focused by the government. Children no longer go to school in order to work to help their families in order to survive another day. The taxation system has been a trending economic issue, which is causing rage and fury among the Filipino people. It is clearly a national issue that needs immediate attention and action, as it affects the whole of the nation. What's supposed to be used to finance basic services such as education, healthcare, and infrastructure, which are all vital to the economic's growth and the improvement of the lives of the people, is the very same thing that seems to limit the capability of the Filipino people to improve their own lives and take away the possibility of having a better Philippines. But will our country ever improve?
The TRAIN Law stands for Tax Reform for Acceleration and Inclusion. It is the first package of the comprehensive tax reform program envisioned by the Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte and his administration. It seeks to correct a number of deficiencies in the tax system to make it simpler, fairer, and more efficient. This reform includes packages that makes changes in taxation such as lowering the personal income tax, simplifying the estate and donors tax and as well as the value-added tax, increasing the excise tax of petroleum products and automobiles, sweetened beverages, cosmetic procedures, coal, mining, and tobacco. The TRAIN Law aims to address the reputed weaknesses of the tax code, specifically through the following objectives. First, it intends to simplify the previous system to make it more straightforward and intuitive. Second, it intends to create a more just scheme wherein taxation is staggered and distributed on the basis of financial capability and the underprivileged are able to reap more advantages. Third, it intends to improve the efficiency by which tax is collected, particularly tackling issues of compliance. The changes instituted by the tax reform is expected to be able to increase revenues to finance the infrastructure, healthcare, and education programs of the Duterte administration, while expecting to reduce tax remitted by the poor and receiving a greater portion of revenues from the wealthiest in the population through personal income tax and consumption taxes. On a long-term scale, TRAIN Law is just the first from a series of tax reform which will be one of the principal means by which the 2020 and 2040 vision of the incumbent administration is to be achieved. The vision in 2020 is that poverty will be reduced from 21.6% to 14%, while 2040 sees the Philippine nation as having eradicated extreme poverty, established an inclusive economic and political institution where everyone has equal opportunities, and achieved high-income country status. This means prioritizing investments on people through health education, lifelong training, social protection, infrastructure and research and development, and investments on infrastructure to boost productivity. The TRAIN Law is one of the primary ways in which the 2020 and 2040 vision of the Duterte administration is to be achieved, and so it had optimistic projections about its effect on the economy, development, and poverty alleviation in its inception. But always remember, it is not the government itself. It is within the Filipino people, our own hands, to make an everlasting change for the Philippines.